I still highly recommend you do not start on a 600 if you are a brand new rider that doesn't have any prior experience. What's going on, everyone, and aloha from Oahu, Hawaii. Just to bring you another motovlog tonight, and the topic is a very highly controversial one, and it is why you should not start on a 600cc bike as a new rider. So I know there's a lot of opinions on this, and a lot of motovloggers have done videos on this, such as Psycho Cruiser and Yami Noob and all those guys. And well, here's why my thoughts and my perspective on it. And honestly, I've ridden dirt bikes like my whole life, or at least in my younger life, should I say. When I was young, we grew up with four-wheelers, dirt bikes, little guys, mini bikes and such, and go-karts and craziness and all that. But not really, I never owned a street bike until pretty much a little over a year ago for the streets. I've been too busy my career. I've never really had the opportunity to own a motorcycle. I lived overseas for a majority of my adult life. So that's pretty much why I haven't owned motorcycles until now. And go figure, now I own 4. Count them, 4. So, I guess you gotta splurge all at once, right? Make up for the lost years. And then I went from a freaking 250 to a 1000, which kind of goes to my argument here, or my opinion, should I say, on why you should not start out on a 600cc as a new beginner rider. Now, I will say as a caveat, if you were like me and you started on, you had experience on 2 wheels, and it actually takes some concentration off-road on 2 wheels, and you're gonna go down, but that's what those bikes are made for. They're fun, messing around, all that good stuff, but it ain't for the streets. The streets is a whole new beast. You got the road rules, you got cagers that'll run you off the road and not paying attention and all that good stuff, because we're invisible on the road, right? But here's what I did. So after all the years, I haven't ridden in years is one. I mean, it was a while since I last ridden like a 2-wheel dirt bike, and then I got back on the road. I went to the MSF course last year, it was about a year ago actually, and all the basics of riding the road, the streets. So I did that, the MSF course. It was like 2 days long. It was the beginner class. And then, you learned a little, I think they're like little 125, like cruiser style bikes. And they have some enduros, but I stuck with a little cruiser style. And, you learn how to manage, control a bike on the streets. And granted, you're in a controlled parking lot with an instructor, and you got to do all the little maneuvers and with the lines and avoid all your buddies that are also learning. So I went in with a little leg up. So right after that, I actually purchased my first bike, 2-wheel street bike, should I say. It was a Honda CBR 250R. And, I asked friends, hey, what should I start on? They're like, oh, you should start on 600. You already know what you're doing because you rode dirt bikes and all that stuff. And I was like, I don't know, man. The streets is a whole new ball game. You got crazy people, all that good stuff. So they were like, all right, well, get a 250, but after riding it for about a month, 1 to 3 months, you're gonna get tired of it and you're gonna upgrade. And I was like, well, then at least I learned and I did the progression the right way. Because the last thing you want is to jump on a 600 when you have no throttle control or control touch or that basically. And you don't want to scare the shit out of yourself and then flip the bike out from behind you, lose control, turn into a corner or hit a pole or whatever, because you just don't have the control. You got to learn the lean angle of the bike, all that stuff. And the faster you accelerate, the harder it's going to be to control that bike. I mean, it's just law of physics and averages. You twist the wrist, you're going that much quicker. Your reaction time's got to be that much faster, that more advanced, that more progressed. You're just not going to have it if you've never ridden a bike before and it's a freaking 600. I'm telling you. And, there'll be naysayers. You should always start 600, 250, waste of money. I'll tell you what, I got mine was a 2013 Honda CBR 250R. And part of the reason I got it is because of Psycho Cruiser. That was actually his first bike. And I watched his videos. I was like, he's like, this is an awesome bike to learn. It sits pretty much upright. you know, and it's got that reliability of Honda, and it's just a good bike to start on. So even with the dirt bike experience, I took heed to that, and I got the 250, and I rode that joker probably 2 to 3 months straight, almost every day I could. So after I was confident on that 250, you know, I rode it all the time. I learned the physics of the motorcycle on the streets, lean angle, dealing with traffic, dealing with cars. Almost had some close calls, you know, like people trying to pull out in front of you and to make that left turn, and you know, just like you hear about in the course and buddies tell you on the streets. And after I was comfortable, I started, you know, right around that 60 day mark, I'd say, maybe before that, 45 to 60 day mark, I started looking at bikes. And I was like, you know, I know what they're talking about now. I'm sitting here, I'm, you know, shift all the way to 5th, 6th gear, and you're like barely going 50, 60 miles an hour. And on the interstate, it's like, whoa, the cars are passing you, you have no power, you're like maxed out. And I was like, yep, I think it's time, I'm comfortable. So I started looking at bikes. And, you know, my original plan was to get a Honda CBR 600 RR. And just like Cycle Cruiser, he was like a big inspiration. So shout out to Cycle Cruiser for me getting a bike. The Hondas especially. And he has his new beginner, you know, videos on how to ride and what you need to do as a rider and your mentality and all that. And, you know, I give a shout out to him. It's awesome. So I watched those videos and I was like, I'm going to get a 600. So then, you know, I'm looking on Craigslist. I'm looking, you know, there's like Facebook pages around here in Hawaii for like bikes for sale pages and all that good stuff. I was actually away on a business trip. It was back in February. And you got to remember, I started riding in like, you know, November, December of the 2015 on the streets. And I found a deal, and it was a Honda CBR 1000 RR. And it was the blue and yellow one that I own, the old Wolverine. And I had actually seen that bike color scheme before and was like, man, that is a badass color scheme. That blue and yellow Honda, and the only year they made it, 2006, and you can't find them anywhere. But I discovered it was only in the 1000. And I was like, whoa, because you hear liter bike and you're like, man, I can't drive one of those. That's some race bikes. Those are the track bikes. You know, I'm going to kill myself as soon as I jump on that thing. And you're like, there's no way in hell. I got to ride a 600 before I go to a 1000. Well, there you go. So there's, I go from a Honda 250R to a freaking Honda CBR 1000 RR, the Fireblade. And you know, I hadn't ridden, I still to this day have not ridden a 600 bike. I own two 1000s, 2 liter bikes. This, the BMW S1000 RR, probably one of the fastest liter bikes you can own, by the way. And my Honda CBR 1000 RR. The guy bought it from was really cool, and I got an amazing deal on that bike, by the way. That's part of the other reason I went ahead and jumped on the 1000, and even though I was hesitant. But what he did is, he's like, hey buddy, you know, like, you can test ride it. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Like, and I told him, like, man, you know, the most I've ridden on the streets is 250. And he was like, hey, if you feel confident, you take it around the block, man. And I was like, I think so, you know, I got this. So I got on that 1000, my CBR 1000 RR, and I started off real, you know, it's a lot more aggressive like this and all that. The 250 sits straight up, and I was like, okay, here we go. And I very nonchalantly, you know, had my legs beside the wobbly a little bit and gave it they said, you know, it's all throttle control. Barely give it some throttle shift. I was like, man, and it is like, whoa, you know, this is cool. And you just got to think power management and throttle control. If you can do that and think ahead of what you're going to do, see the road ahead, you know, you're going to be fine. I rode that 1000 RR around the block, made it fine, came back. He was like, how'd you like it? I was like, man, that was awesome. And then he's like, hey, what do you think? And I was like, well, I really like it, obviously. And he's like, I'll tell you what, take it for a spin, go a little bit further, go like 5 miles down the road or something. I was like, all right. He's like, test the real power of this thing, but be careful and see what you think. Well, I took it 5 miles down the road or so and came back. Got back, looked at him. You got a deal. That's how I got my CBR 1000 RR. So, point of the story is, I still, even though I went from a 250 to a 1000 in 2 months or so, 2.5, 3 months, I still highly recommend you do not start on a 600 if you are a brand new rider that doesn't have any prior experience. If you have prior experience, you might be able to go with a 600, but I still recommend you start with a 250, you ride the crap out of it for, 3 months to a year, and who cares? Those things sell cheap. You can buy them cheap. I think I paid $2,600 for mine, like I said, and it was a 2013, and I bought it in 15, and then I ended up selling it. I actually broke even. I think I sold it for what I bought it for. So there you go. It was like a great learner bike. If I'd have dropped it, I wouldn't have gave a crap. I mean, it's a 250. Those things are like commonplace. They come and go. They're cheap. I rode it till I was confident, and once I was confident, I upgraded to the 1000, which is what I highly recommend. Now the thing is, you start in a 600, that thing is almost like a 1000 already. It's a rocket ship between your legs. It'll take off and go, and it'll kill you real easy. A 250 will get you also. I ain't saying it's no saint, but it's like a giant scooter. Once you learn your control, your lean angle, your balance, that's what it's all about. Knowing the road, knowing the other drivers around here, what the anticipation, controlling, learning the body angles, throttle control, what you can do to avoid your avenues of escape, all that good stuff. You learn all that at the MSF course, which is another reason I was comfortable with upgrading, because I did all that intense. I also did the MSF Advanced course for cruisers, which is like my Harleys, and I also, a month after that, did the MSF course for sport bikes, and that one was pretty cool. That challenges you, some quick turns and some high lean angles. So if you want to challenge yourself, go to the MSF sport bike course. It's pretty good. But that's why I recommend that you do not, I repeat, do not, come on car, what you doing? Do not start on a 600cc bike as a beginner bike. Start on a 250 and then upgrade to that 600, or if you're confident and you're comfortable and you might have some two-wheel experience from the past, shoot for that leader bike, like this baby right here, because they only make BMWs in 1000s in the sport bikes. So if you want to shoot for this guy one day, or my Honda, my Wolverine, that CBR 1000 RR, get you an MSF course. All you new riders, get you a 250, get on the streets, ride the crap out of that thing for 3 months to a year, and get you a big baby you'll love the power. Believe me, it's what gets you going. So with that, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please give a thumbs up if you haven't. Like this video, share with your friends. Let me know your thoughts. That's what I like to see. Do you disagree and you should start on a 600? I like to hear different theories, because my thoughts are start on a 250 and upgrade. And you see, I skipped the 600 altogether and went to the big boy. And it's not such a big boy. The 600 and the 1000 are pretty much the same, except the 1000 will get it in the straight line speed and all that. But you hear the 600, it'll take 1000 out of the corners because it weighs less, it's more maneuverable. So let me know your thoughts. Take care. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all later, and aloha.